been a long time since the cappuccino was fashionable.
We go to one of those cappuccino places.
Cappuccino.
Practice situational awareness next time you're at the gas station.
Great, how are you?
Very well. Happy to finally sit down and chat with you guys.
Dude, talk about Big Cat, Big K, Carl. What nicknames have you had? You got any nicknames?
Yeah, anything that's with a K, like Special K or K Money or K Dog or
Hot Carl.
I've heard Hot Carl before. Yeah,
Hot Carl.
I try not to. Point. I usually shut that one down pretty soon, as soon as it happens.
What's your favorite? What do you roll with? You like to roll with Big Cat, Special K?
No, I like. So last name's Eagleman. So like anything in college, you know, I played basketball in college, and so when you're in that sports arena, everyone has nicknames, and so they would call me Eagle, whatever, like Eagle Shot or Eagle Hustle or Eagle something.
Eagle Eye.
Eagle Eye, yeah.
Eagle Eye's a good one.
Yeah.
I got a few for you. Today we are joined by Carl Eagleman, a.k.a. the Desert Eagle, a.k.a. your coach's coach, a.k.a. I never stop drawing stick men, a.k.a. Whiteboard Daily. Welcome to the show.
All very true. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
No problem.
Is Indiana a desert?
Is it desert?
The Desert Eagle. Don't you live in Indiana?
That's like Operation Desert Eagle with like Norman Schwarzkopf, and like that was back in like Desert Storm or something like that.
So you played basketball in college. What college you go to?
I played basketball at Bellarmine University down in Louisville, Kentucky, and
nice.
I loved it. It was awesome. It was a job though, for sure. Anyone who plays a sport in college and has like goes to like a decent school, it's going to be pretty tough because they take it pretty serious, and it's not a free ride, that's for sure. But it's fun, you know, because you got like an immediate set of buddies. I guess kind of like a fraternity or sorority. Like those are your guys. You're always traveling with them and hanging out with them and eating with them, and so it was cool to have that.
What position you play?
I played 4 or 5, like power forward, center. I'm 6'7", so
okay.
That was my position right there. Oh yeah.
Was that before do you have an outside jump shot back then or no?
I don't know. It was more like I was never too much of a scorer. I was like the scrappy, like definitely a rebounder in defense, and like you just kind of find something that, like, everyone likes to score, don't get me wrong. So you like trying to find other things that are like intangible or valuable to a team. So that was like my role.
Absolutely.
Dylan's 6'9".
Yeah, I'm 6'9".
Very proportionate for 6'9".
Yeah.
He's a thick 6'9".
Yeah, 6'9", but he's only 5'9" in flats.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. No, I actually grew up playing basketball as well. So, but I was 5'9", not 6'9". And
point guard, point floor general.
Yeah, I went between the 2 and the 1 a lot. I started, I was a 1 and then went to the 2 once I just learned how to shoot. And then that's all I could do after that is just shoot, nothing else. So I was kind of a one-trick pony after that, but it worked out.
So Carl, what'd you go to school for? What was your major down there?
I went to school I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I mean, I'll be honest, like if I didn't have basketball going for me, and I knew pretty young that basketball was going to be my vehicle for college, because I was 6'7" by my freshman year of high school. And so I was tall, and if you're tall in Indiana, you play basketball. That's just a given. And so I was like, this could probably pay for my school. And so I kind of went all in on that. But I didn't know like what I wanted to do. And if I didn't have basketball, I always thought that the armed forces were pretty cool. I think that'd be, a cool thing to serve. And, when you're young and you're full of testosterone, you're like, yeah, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. And, I deal with high school kids all the time right now, so I know exactly what kind of perspective they have. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did know I like playing basketball, and you kind of have to choose a major. So I decided to just go into communications because it was like a broad major. You could kind of get into a lot of different things. I didn't mind getting up in front of people and talking. So I was like, okay, we'll just try this out. So that's just what I did for my bachelor's, and graduated, did some marketing jobs after that. And then that kind of led me into some graphic design, like freelance graphic design, because I kind of had some art background. And I mean, we're getting down a long path of like, I feel like I've had 5-6 different lifetimes. But yeah, that was my college.
So what got you into first, like training athletes or working as a coach?
Let's see here. Back in like 2007 or so, 2000, I always loved sports. I always loved like being active. And I always loved, like, I was the type of like high school athlete that I would just like go train by myself and like go do plyometrics or go do sprints like by myself, because no one else, especially small town Indiana, like no one else really was kind of into that stuff. I was like, I like doing it. I like how my body feels. I like how I could see progress. And so like sports has always been a big interest of mine, and training to be better at your sport has always been a big interest of mine. And, I knew very young, like you kind of start to build self-awareness of like what makes you who you are. And that's really important, especially at a young age, because, everyone's different and everyone's got something inside of them that makes them different. And you gotta listen to that part of your body and that part of your mind that makes you different, because that's special, that's unique, and you got to pursue that stuff. And so I was like, yeah, I like sports. I like training. And so basketball was a big sport, obviously, all through college. And then after that, I kind of kept going to the gym, doing like the bodybuilding split routine until I came across CrossFit back in like 06 or 07. And the movie 300 came out. You guys remember that movie?
Oh yeah,
dude. Of course.
Yeah. Of course. And everyone was talking about how those actors got all jacked and, the abs were everywhere. And so I learned about that movie, and Mark Twight was the trainer for those actors. And he was a student of Greg Glassman. So I learned about Greg Glassman. I learned about CrossFit, and that kind of introduced me to like that type of training of constantly varied functional movement, high intensity interval training type stuff. And I was like, oh man, this is something else. And so first CrossFit named workout I ever did was 300, the 300 workout. And I did it at like a Globo gym. It was at a university. I was at IU, Indiana University at the time. And I did it there. And I was taking up like half the gym with like all the different things. I was like, no, I'm coming back to that. Don't touch that barbell over there. I got to do my floor wipers.
Yeah, you do window wipers. That's right.
right. And everyone was like, who is this guy? And I don't know about you guys, but I think a lot of people, when they first find CrossFit, they're like, man, if you're not doing CrossFit, you're wasting your time, because that's like CrossFit's it. Yeah. And so like I had that young, naive, I guess, perspective on things. I went all in on CrossFit. I thought it was it. I just loved it. And so I kind of started doing all that. And then I ended up moving out to California. I moved out to the Bay Area. I was I lived right on the border of like Berkeley and Oakland. And I used to go up to the Berkeley rec center up there. And the craziest thing, man, I was up there and I was doing a little workout, and I look over in the corner and I see like this guy and girl, and they're doing like butterfly pull-ups. And this was like back in like 08, I guess. That's early. And so, yeah, it's early, right? So if you see somebody doing a butterfly or kipping pull-up, you're like, okay, they're a CrossFitter, because no one else does that stuff. And sure enough, it was Savan Matosian and his girlfriend, Haley. They're like working out over there. And so we started talking, started hanging out. And then he's like, hey, you want to start doing CrossFit with me? And I was like, yeah. So we started doing there's like a dirt track nearby. And so we started doing, just workouts together. He started videoing me, and he would post some of my workouts on the .com site back then, which was like, the mech, how it was. Made it. Right. Yeah. It was like, this is like good. Like, this is it. I made it. Like in the CrossFit world, everybody back then went to the .com page.
Yeah. If you got featured on that page back then, that was like a big deal.
The comment sections were off the hook.
Yeah. Oh, thousands. Thousands of comments.
Thousands of comments every day, every post. Go in there, post your score. I like
Yeah,
guys
that
I
was like-
follow. I go and find like these same 3 dudes and check out their score. I was always like competing
Had
with
that-
them.
they had
They
that-
didn't know it.
They had
I
that-
knew it.
They had that cream colored like background to
Oh,
the
they did that
website.
same website for so long.
It was
Yeah,
like
they should have never have
peach.
changed it. They should never have
No.
changed it. They should have left it like that, like, and never changed it.
It'd be cool again.
Or at least kept it and kept it to some capacity maybe for just the workouts and
Yeah.
like maybe that same blog style, then have like a real like full functioning website like they do now. But like they should have kept it and held on to that like 8-bit mindset of like that old school, the website. That was cool.
It was so good the way it was. It was, and I know you guys agree with me. You know what people? This is what people should do right now. Have you ever done the Wayback Machine go to a web page? You can type in Wayback Machine on Google, and then it'll bring you to a page where they archive like anything in the back,
like all the cached websites.
Yes. Yeah. And so you can like check out how things used to look. So you could like type in CrossFit.com on the Wayback Machine. So people would know what we're talking about here. And
I didn't know that was a function. That's cool. Yeah. I'll check that out. Wayback.
It's really,
I'll tell you one way to get in shape. If you just want simple shit, is you go to CrossFit.com, just go to 2004.
Yep.
And just start on January 1. Like you should do it like like next year, 2023, just do 2003's CrossFit workouts.
How
or
far
like,
did
or pick a year, 2006, and just do like the workout of the day every day. You'll be doing virtual shoveling.
Virtual shoveling. I actually drew that up. Yeah.
Yeah. We do all kinds of fun stuff, dude. But it's all like couplets and triplets. Dude, you'll run a 5K like twice a month. Dude, it's like,
do you remember? And for a while, you could tell like when they were like experimenting with certain stuff. Like they had that one rep scheme that was like, it was like a couplet, but it would go like 10, 8, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It would count down from 10. And then the other one would be
1
going
to 10.
up for like 1 to 10.
Oh yeah. You'd meet at 5, meet in the middle.
Yeah.
I still do some of those.
Hey, you know what I don't know if it's still true, but as of like a year ago it was, do you know what the number 1 posted workout on CrossFit.com is?
Like the one they reposted the amount.
The most commonly posted workout on CrossFit.com.
Cindy.
One with a kettlebell.
Is it a named workout?
No, I'm not giving you tips, Carl.
Helen, dude.
One. Yeah, I would say
I'd say Helen.
I can go with Helen.
You're going Helen? Dean, you're going Cindy?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
All you motherfuckers are wrong. Run 5K. No shit. No shit. Like as of like a year ago, that was like the number 1 most like repeated workout on CrossFit.com.
Okay.
I think
you know what? I've done it quite a few times when it was posted when I was following.com. And you know what? Works every time. It makes me tired.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine that.
Dude.
Imagine that.
So
3.2 miles.
If you're doing the .com
workouts,
if you were doing the .com workouts back then, when did you get on the nutrition train too that CrossFit had, or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you count blocks? You count blocks, Carl?
Yeah. Well, I was around. I never got into counting blocks. That was a big thing, right? But like, I remember when.
Did you buy your copy of the Paleo Cookbook?
No, but like, I really got in. I guess I got into paleo. What I thought was paleo, and start learning more about exactly. And you remember like the term like leaky gut syndrome was like.
Oh yeah, dude.
Was kind of popular. Rob Wolf was big time back then. I not so much. I changed how I ate for sure, and it got better. But I never like went full committal with like a scale or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like I always, for me, being taller and like I feel like I'm constantly eating anyway. And so as long as I'm eating like the good stuff, like the whole foods, then I don't really worry too much about anything else after that.
I feel like, man, we always talk about nutrition around here. We go in circles and almost every episode we talk about nutrition.
I brought it up. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Well, you know why? Because all of it, we all eat every day.
Yeah, like
seems like it's an important thing.
It's true. And it's so funny because like that's really the answer, I think, for most people is like, man, dude, like look what's on your plate. Is that real food?
Yeah.
Are those real vegetables? Is that real meat? Is that real like some kind of grain if you like that? Like is that some kind of real starch? Is that from a plant was that from it's come out of the ground? And if you're eating that every day and at pretty much most every meal, you're going to be okay. You're going to end up looking pretty good.
We
Exactly.
talked about this with our mutual friend Wes Pyatt. We kind of, not back and forth a little bit, but anyway, he made this stance where he's like, quality versus quantity, and he basically went hard in one direction, which is always a fun thing to do. We like having little debates, right? Just pick a side, just dig in and see where it takes you, right? Anyway, he said that quality is the only thing that matters, and basically his argument is if you are only eating meat, vegetables, fruits, and like nuts and seeds, right? Yeah, if that's the only thing you're eating, like you will lose weight, like you will get leaner, just based on like you're not like how much of that stuff. I mean, you can overeat on nuts, like you get a ton of calories, but most people aren't going to because they're so filling, right? Like you'll eat a handful of nuts, and like you're not going to have another handful of nuts an hour later if you just had a big ass meal with like all of the meats and vegetables and fruits you want, right?
That was like you tell somebody just uncontrollably just shoving down nuts.
Or like or on a regular day, like on a day after. Yeah,
I can't stop.
That's how Dylan pays the bills. That's but yeah, most people, you're right, dude. And like on a day after day basis, like maybe one day you get carried away, but like day in and day out, just like these are such they're not as calorically dense, right? Like a pizza, like, you have 4 slices of a pizza and like there's so many calories in that, right? And the way that, and so many carbs. And so it's just like the way it's going to affect your blood sugar and all that shit. Whereas like to eat the equivalent amount of food, if you're only eating meats and vegetables and fruits, it'd be like, whatever, it'd be so much more quantity. Like you're just gonna be so full, you wouldn't get in that many calories.
For sure. For sure.
So it was an interesting thing. I think you're right about that.
When did you get on social media, Carl?
Like Whiteboard Daily?
Yeah. Like, or no, how did you even come up with that? First of all.
Oh, well, so like I got my first level 1 certification in 2009, and it was actually at the ranch in Aromas.
Who was do you remember who some of the instructors were?
Oh, of course. Yeah. So Pat Barber, Chuck was not there. Unfortunately, I would love to shake that guy's hand. He's great. Chuck was not there.
Pat Barber coached my first one too.
Okay. So Freddie Camacho, is it Camacho or Comancho? I'm not sure. Camacho. Jolie Gentry. She was like, she did like a lot of the demo stuff.
She won the games one year.
She did win the game for 1 year. Yeah. So it's cool to like, do you guys remember Neil Maddox?
Oh yeah. He's out here by us.
Yeah. He was like sitting next to me in the level 1. It was his first time taking a level 1. I met Jason Kalipe out there. He was actually just working out there. He wasn't like taking the course, but he was out there working out.
That's close to his house.
I thought so. Yeah. And then also like the Castros, because they were there. So the Castros actually catered the food for us to eat. It was really just, it was there in, the barn,
that just sounds so
cool.
fun. That sounds so fun.
It was so
like
fun.
A great time. It sounds like, I just feel like that feeling just doesn't exist anymore though, in that space. It's like more like a retreat, more like almost like a day trip, like a retreat to like a little farm or something. And you're like walking around.
Yeah.
And you're obviously learning. Dude. It's like, man, like that shit's just gone.
2008, 2009 was it? I think CrossFit games at the ranch.
Yeah.
It was like, you go there was a beer tent. Like they were just like selling there. It was like, I think it was $1 domestics and $2 imports.
Wasn't I think Panda Express was a sponsor.
Panda Express was a sponsor.
Hell yeah, dude! That orange chicken.
Yeah, right. Orange chicken.
Man. It was great. It was great. No, also like I just had an ice chest in the back of my truck. Like you just like bring in your own. Then you can bring in your own beers. It's all good. Like or you can buy ours for $1.
It was so special, Dean. Like it was like this thing where you're sitting around and you're like, man, no one. You kind of feel like you found something that no one ever. You're like this because it was like a small following. No one really know about CrossFit, but I knew personally. I was like, this is pretty cool. And these people that I'm here with. Foster. Hold on, I remembered another name. I think she lives for Cal Strength. Jocelyn.
Jocelyn Forrest. For Catalyst.
Yeah, Catalyst.
Catalyst. Yeah, so she was in class with me too. I remember I was like, dude, this chick, she's got like this amazing tattoo down her leg. She's wearing like Cal Cal Berkeley shorts. It was like cool to like, you're like, okay, there's some big timers here in my world, my small world now. And then now to see where everyone is doing their own thing. It was a really cool time, like you said. And I never will forget that feeling. It was really cool.
For sure. And that for us, especially being where we're at here in California, is like back then you go to a local competition, you're competing against Blair Morrison, Jason Khalipa, and all these guys, Neil Maddox. They're right in the same workouts with, me, and I'm 100. And back then I was 145 pounds soaking wet doing RX division, competing against Jason Khalipa. And it's like, oh, this is fucking awesome. This is cool.
Remember, so like Savan and I, we ended up, being pretty good buddies, and like we would work out quite often. And this was also around the time when Every Second Counts came out. And so he gave me this copy of it before it even came out. And so I had the burn CD, the burn DVD of it. Yeah. And so, and then we ended up, he invited me to this sneak peek preview of it. And it was in, I want to say, I'm not sure if it was San Diego or Santa Barbara. I forget exactly where the premiere was. And I went there. Castro was there. Like all the OGs were there watching.
Was it in Santa Cruz?
It was in Santa Cruz. That's where it was. Yeah. So I went there. And then afterwards I'm talking to Pat Barber, and we're talking about like catching up, like, cause we saw each other at the level 1. He's like, man, you gonna compete in the games this year? And like, I was like, oh man, I don't know, maybe, like, cause
you just signed up.
Yeah. That's all you do. You just sign up. That's it. And now it's like, you don't ask somebody if they're going to compete in the games unless you already know who they are and they're already like some elite athlete. But back then it was just like, dude, anybody's got a chance, because you just go for it. And it was just a different atmosphere back then because it was so much smaller.
For sure.
Well, to a degree, it's kind of funny. It was almost like MMA, like cage fighting, right? So what I mean by that is now most of the people kind of look the same, right? There's kind of a height, there's kind of a weight, there's like a range of like heights and weights where it's like, okay, you're gonna be the best at overall CrossFit, right? Across these like 10 different skills, right? However, back then it was like, you had John Wellborn, you know what I mean? Like NFL offensive lineman was competing next to like a Pat Barber or a Chris Spieler. One of these guys was like 5'6", right? And so you got this, 6'6", 300-pound dude like doing thrusters on pull-ups next to a guy that's 5'6" and 140 pounds, right? Because at that point you didn't really know. Like, okay, like what size person or how much muscle, whatever. And there weren't the amount of people yet there. And also people hadn't been doing CrossFit that long. Right. Like as you do it over time more, your body kind of it absolutely adapts to the stimulus you're giving it. So if you train CrossFit over 7 years, your body will look different 7 years later than it did when you started. Right.
Right.
And so anyway, this was still, people are still working that out. Anybody just throwing their hat in and going there and getting after it.
I play sports. Sign me up.
Dude. Oh, I've been in CrossFit for a year. This shit's fun, dude. I'm going. Right. And so kind of had like all these different body types and heights. It was wild.
I think that's a reason why Every Second Counts was a cool movie, is because he profiled all these different athletes and they're all like pretty different. Like OPT, Everett, Josh Everett was one of them that he profiled. Obviously Wellborn. And so it was like the backstory on all these athletes, but there's a big difference in like their background for the most part. And so, and like you said, back then it's like, who knows what the winner is going to look like, because stuff
you didn't know
too much.
I actually rewatched that in 2020 during the lockdowns here in California. I watched that Every Second Counts. I watched it again for the second time. I only watched it twice, like a long time ago when I first really got into CrossFit in the early 2010s or whatever. And then, then I watched it in 2020 and it holds up. It's still fun.
Yeah.
Because it just reminds you of that reminds you of that time, that moment in time of like this kind of more grassroots, bootstrapped kind of like, niche sporting event instead of like, the monstrosity it's become.
So Carl, now you spend all your time either coaching high school athletes or drawing stick figures.
Yeah.
So when in your different drawings, right, the lot of them, it's movement patterns is a lot of them, and then also coaching cues, right? And so between kind of the movement patterns and the coaching cues and all that, like what is it that kind of for the next drawing? Like, do you have a list somewhere like, oh shit, I should draw that? And you just have like a running list that you just kind of pull from, or is it like day of inspiration, right? Or you're at the gym, you give, you're coaching a class or whatever, you give a cue and you're like, oh shit, that's a great cue, I should draw that up. So is it kind of like spur day inspiration, or do you have this running kind of chipping away at?
It's really both. Like it's one of those things when because this is what I do. This is what I've been doing, is drawing cues and trying to find more coaching cues. I'm always like on high alert. It's like when you go to shop for a house, all of a sudden you start looking at houses, like as you're driving around the road, right?
Blue van theory.
Yeah. Blue van. Yeah, exactly. And so now, like whenever I'm talking, whenever I'm coaching, whenever I hear other athletes talk, or whenever I'm watching other videos of other people, I'm always like cued into like little subtle things that somebody might say that might be a useful cue. And so I do have a list, and like, especially if I start to get this library in my brain of like, I have too many things I need to remember, I just write it all out and like, okay, these are my to-do list of things that I want to write out. But for the most part, a lot of times it really is kind of like spur of the moment. Like, oh, I use this cue today, I'm going to write it up later on today or tomorrow. It's just having the time to do it, because I love it. I love drawing stuff up and sharing and helping other people get better at communicating movement. But also it's like, man, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a teacher. I got so much other stuff that I got to do throughout the day. It's just trying to find, that's how it is for everybody. Just trying to find enough time in the day to prioritize your stuff.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. What you're referring to, by the way, is called the reticular activating system. That's
nice.
That's your RAS. That's the part of your brain that picks out what's important to you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why if you say like, okay, that's why that's the science behind like The Secret, or like visualizing things, or like daily repetition of mantras, whatever. Because if every day you tell yourself that something's important, then your reticular activating system is going to be like looking for those things in your environment. So you might be at dinner and someone 2 tables over, like you do this next time you're at dinner, sit there, like look at the person across from you, but try to hear the conversation that's 2 tables over, and you can, right? But if you heard everything your body took in all the time, you'd go crazy, right? You'd never be able to focus, or never be able to do anything. And so whatever your brain thinks is, whatever you're telling yourself is important to you, it's looking for those cues. And so you might hear someone say something that's a couple tables over, right? And this type of thing, so that you pick up on these different things, and then that's how you kind of learn about stuff. And that's how, whatever, like law of attraction things, it isn't necessarily that the universe is throwing shit at you. It's just that you are actually picking up on the cues and seeing the opportunities and that type of stuff, because you told yourself it's important. And so with you, it's the same type thing. I know when I was writing a weekly email, that there was it was the same situation. Like sometimes I would feel like daily something would happen. I'd be like, oh shit, that's the perfect topic right there. So I had this like long list of, and then when I went that Wednesday to write, I was always afraid I was going to like not have something to write about. It was always the opposite. I'd be like looking at this list and there'd be 10 things on there that I haven't got to yet. Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how that goes. You just got to tell yourself something's important, and then you see that shit.
Yeah. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm always like looking for new stuff. I think, being a coach, I know that I can help out other coaches if I provide them with some kind of content that they can go ahead and share with their athletes, because it makes their job easier rather than them having to draw something out. They can just use something that I've drawn. And I think that's probably why, thankfully, it's pretty cool to see like people, like coaches draw movement sequences on their walls of their gyms. Like when you find something that helps other people and you enjoy doing it, I mean, you got something pretty special there. So you just keep on doing that.
Did you start drawing because you found visual cues were working better than verbal? Was that the idea?
Well, I started drawing. This kind of goes back to your question about like starting whiteboard daily. And I to answer that question, I really kind of started it the first time I locked down the name and kind of came up with an idea of like what I wanted to do. It was 2017. It's August of 2017. And I used to travel for my job. I used to work for USA Track and Field. I used to work events for them. And so I would travel around, but I'd like to, being a CrossFitter, I would carry like a whiteboard, a little square piece of shower board that I would write out my workouts, and I keep that in my luggage. And I was like, well, I can maybe check this out. I'm going to like write out workouts or like motivational quotes or like, and I'll post one every day. And like, I'll post other stuff that I think might be helpful. And so I did that for a little while, but it was like, as you guys know, like motivational quotes and workouts are like a dime a dozen on social media. There's nothing special about that.
We come up somewhere right now. I got here's motivation. Ready? Motivation. Hey, wherever you are, that's where you are.
That's where you are. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh shit.
Right. Yeah, you're right. But there's a reason for that, right?
Yes.
Because people like them. And then also like, you just got to find your niche, right? Or your niche, and that's what you ended up doing here, and which is people obviously are loving. And what was the first thing you ever drew? What was your first on the page? What was the first post of like Whiteboard Daily official post?
Well, the very, 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 very number one first post I ever did was a workout. I was actually in Toronto, Canada for travel for work. And I wrote out the workout that I did that day. And I think I named it like whatever the hotel I was staying. I think it was like Ramada or
the Marriott.
Marriott. That's what
named it Desert Eagle Marriott.
Yeah. The Eagle at Marriott.
That was the very first one. But then like the first post that I did that was like actually kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. I remember I drew like a stick figure and the title, it just said triple extension, and it showed a stick figure from the side and ankle and knee and hip. And they were like doing a clean or a snatch or something like that. And I was like, hey, I kind of like how that looks. And it was really compared like what I do now, it was very, very like beginnerish, it was just very like prime. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very
basic. Very juvenile, very
juvenile. That I was going to say that.
Very, innocent compared to how it is. It's so funny. Like, it's like, you look at your style of the, anatomy or the movement patterns with the stick figure. Do you call them stick? You call them stick? I guess they are, right? Yeah. But it has its own like look to it. That's like, you can't just like go and duplicate it really quick. It's like one of those things, right? It looks like it's easier than it really is to draw.
Yeah.
That's one of those things, right? I think
go ahead.
Yeah, this took me 2 hours. These two here. That's just for you.
And you were late, but you were also probably looking at his art.
I was staring at his. Yeah. You said
like
just
doing
limit?
it on your. Yeah, just try and doing it on your own without any reference. It's going to look like shit.
I couldn't have done that. But you know how you have a time limit on Instagram? Like I set one so I'm not on it all day. I went through the time limit just trying to draw that.
That's great.
You're off the rest of the day. No more Instagram.
No more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No. And then putting the coaching cues on there, right? Yeah. Or like I said, like motivation, right? So that's what's interesting too, is when I think of Whiteboard Daily, I think of the stick figures and the movement patterns, but it's also cool. A lot of times there are like little, not necessarily motivational quotes. I mean, sometimes, but mostly it's like coaching cues, right? It's all, is that the idea? Is the idea just to have content that helps coaches? Or what's kind of the mission?
I think you're talking about the coaching. I call them coaching perspectives. Like consistency is king. Like that type of stuff, because I feel like that's also stuff that is important for coaches to share with their athletes, because it's not just about movement. We all know this. It's just as much mental as it is anything else. And so if I can provide coaches with stuff that they can share with their athletes, then I kind of put that. I'm like, okay, that's good enough for me to post for sure.
I thought you just like learned how to draw a crown one day, and you're like, well, I got to show this. You know what I mean? Consistency is king. Throw the little crown on there. Like, oh yeah, that looks good.
I think this is, I think your business is important because a lot of coaches, once they start coaching, they don't try to improve, or they don't know how to improve really in the way they coach, or how to come up with better cues or anything like that, which I've seen time and time again. I've seen the same coaches for 6 years. They haven't improved as a coach at all. And I think it's maybe because they don't know how, or maybe they're not interested, but I think this is a good avenue for coaches to go, or good content to consume, to say, hey, I can get better at X, Y, and Z to help everyone under me. Or if you're a gym owner who also coaches, it's going to help your member retention tenfold for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting that you bring up that same point, because really I'm also looking, like, don't get me wrong. I feel like I've definitely become a better coach because I'm doing Whiteboard Daily and because I'm always looking for stuff. If you stop learning, then your knowledge is done. It's finite. It's contained. There's nothing else you can do. But you're constantly learning, constantly trying to find other things to share with other people. Then you can it's unlimited, right? And so, but the same thing too when it comes to like if we want to kind of take this discussion to like brand development, like Whiteboard Daily. I don't want it to always just be like an Instagram channel or page or whatever. I want it to be like I want to diversify the way that I can help other people become better coaches. So like I'm always looking for different ways to grow the brand of that.
You guys should, you should come out the book.
Yeah, good timing.
I wasn't going for that, but man, since you brought it up, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like books are like,
because Carl, you do have it. You did just come out with a book, right?
I did just come out with a book. Yep.
Yeah, live. You can buy it on Amazon, right?
I got a copy right here. You know what?
Yes.
I was thinking.
What's funny is someone told me that I was going to get a copy, and I check the mail every day.
Don't worry.
Well,
and it's like it's like my daily shot of disappointment.
Well, you should have went and bought it.
Well, I didn't buy it because I was told I'm gonna
buy it. I'm gonna go buy it.
I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna draw my own, and it might take me 100 years, but I'm gonna try.
The only reason
I'm also gonna gift one too. I'm gonna buy two.
I'm gonna do actually. I'm totally serious. Is I'm gonna buy one for every coach in my gym.
That'd be good. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, for $30 on Amazon, it's a pretty here's the deal. Like I don't set the price point. Like the publisher, they're like, hey, this book would be great. This is the price point. But then
that book's worth more than $30. That book is full of like so much shit. That's a bargain.
How many hours? Like this is the thing about books, right? You get somebody's basically like their life work in this book for $30, right? Like it's a fucking bargain. It's fucking bargain. How long have you been started this Whiteboard Daily page? 6 years ago?
About 6 years. We'll say 5-6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 or 6 years ago, Yeah. And you get 5 or 6 years of not only work, but just like getting the time that goes into it.
Thousands of hours.
It's funny. Well, it's like, okay, so you hire a trainer, right? Personal training. And they're like, oh, it's $100 an hour. Like $100 an hour. Like you're just like, dude, well, you're not paying for that hour. You're paying for the thousands of hours that they learned everything they're going to fucking teach you in that hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's it.
People just don't know how to.
That's the thing. Like $30 for that book, like that's a smoking deal. Like
$30 for any book is a deal.
Yeah, especially you're paying for like years of the coaching experience, and then the years of like doing it and refining it, and like that type of. Plus, I mean, the motivational content alone,
We're also I always look at like the price of something based off of like the hours of like entertainment that it's going to provide me. So it's something like this kind of book where you're going to refer to it all the fucking time,
dude,
for the next 10 years or whatever. Like, as long as you're like moving and interested in the movements or whatever. Well, I mean, fucking, you can't ask for a better bargain than $30.
Get one to throw on the coffee table at the gym.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? People waiting to go into class. Somebody can flip through.
You got to have one in the shitter.
I'm going to put, I'm actually
have one in the shitter.
In the bathroom stalls of the gym. I'm going to put in like a magazine rack just to hold the book.
Yeah.
Plus that way, if they run out of toilet paper, they can pick their favorite page. One guy's probably going straight for Fran. He's like, I'm going to put one out first.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly, but no, all kidding aside, like that is like the perfect kind of like, I gotta take it. Like, I gotta go instead of scrolling through Instagram. I like having bathroom.
Well, like Dylan's out of Instagram time today,
so he clearly needs to be reading a lot.
And if you are a trainer charging $100 an hour, spend this one-time $30 thing to keep your members and keep your people. You're going to make $100 more every day because of this $30 book because you have references to go back to now.
What maybe through that challenge or something else, like what is one thing maybe through doing Whiteboard Daily, like what's one thing that the one way it has improved your life? Like one way you're like, oh man, I'm so glad I've been doing this because of this benefit.
There's so many reasons. I mean, really there's countless. I would say the most immediate one is like, I love coaching other people. And when I have put like this accountability on myself, like, naming it Whiteboard Daily, that means that people are going to kind of expect something every single day. Right. And so I'm like, oh man, well, I better come with it. Right. I better find some good stuff to share with people. So it's challenged me to become a better coach. And I know that's happened. So that's one way for sure. It's like I become a better coach, because also too, for anybody out there, if you want to understand anything better, and I'm not just talking about movement, I'm talking about a business practice, or I'm talking about
playing the piano.
Playing the piano, or agriculture, or building a car, whatever. If you want to learn it better, if you want to understand it better, draw it. Like that's going to help you big time. Even if you're a horrible artist, I don't care how it looks, but just draw it out. That's going to help you figure out how things work on a different level. So,
very interesting.
I say hot take. See one, do one, draw one.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that.
Is that what they say?
That.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I like that insight.
It's
that knowledge bomb.
Yeah, and something else about that too that you mentioned in there. He said how you named it daily, kind of put the pressure on. That's the part, right? Social, not responsibility. What's another word? Like people hold you. Yeah, fuck it. Social responsibility.
Social responsibility.
So accountability. That's where I was thinking.
Accountability.
So social accountability. That's a major thing. Like if you want to do something, like one way to make sure you do it is you tell everybody. You say, hey, I'm doing this thing. I signed up for a marathon in 90 days. I will be running a marathon on that day. And every single day I'm going to post like what my training run was, whatever, right? Like, boom, right there. If you do that and all of a sudden 7 days later, you don't post, I guarantee you somebody is going to be like, oh, what's that? You like, workout today? Or what's going on? And that's it, dude. And so by name it, that's another lesson there too, right? You put daily in the name. It's like, dude, you're on the hook now.
Yeah.
If you would have named it whiteboard periodically, you would have an entirely different outcome.
Whiteboard occasional.
You might not be here right now. You might have just quit.
Whiteboard whenever I feel like doing it.
Yeah.
And we love it, obviously. And we've obviously had some fun doing some new stuff together with Caffeine and Kilos and Whiteboard Daily, and more to come in the future too. But what would you say is your, maybe the favorite opportunity or the favorite person that you've met through Whiteboard Daily, like in your more big or event you've gone to representing, the brand? Like, what's your favorite thing that you've done?
Hey, no lie. I know that I'm biased here with sitting down with you guys, but seriously, working with you guys has been massive. I get goosebumps talking about, because I always held you guys in high regard. And when I say you guys, I'm talking about Caffeine and Kilos. Like I remember when you guys first came on the scene, 07, 08. No,
we were a little later. We were
2013.
Oh,
no. I'm mixing up my vintages here. Yes, 13. No, that makes sense, because I was like, long story. Anyway. And I was like, man, like these guys, it was my first experience kind of like understanding like what a lifestyle brand is, and like how you guys really were like, hey, it's not just about coffee, but it's like, hey, people who like coffee and also like to lift weights, and CrossFitters and Olympic weightlifters. I was like, oh man, like that makes a lot of sense to me. And I really admired the way you guys grew your brand, and for me to be partnering with you guys on so many different projects, it's like, it really is. That's one of the coolest things, I think, right there. Also too, I mean, along those same lines, you talking about like things that I've been able to do because of Whiteboard Daily, or another thing too, like working with Velasa, they've got, they're like a smaller brand and they're growing brand. And to work with them to like have like a custom shoe that has like my drawings on a shoe, like that's insane to me. That was really cool. Along the same lines, when people start tattooing my drawings on their bodies, like, dude, again,
there's so many.
I think it's cool.
I'm still waiting on my special request.
The coffee. I got you. I'm probably we're sitting down.
No worries, dude. Yeah, I know you're a busy guy.
I think it's
sitting around.
I think it's really cool of Carl for putting those pictures in the book too, at the back of the book on page 308, I think.
Yeah, it's back there.
Sweet. That's awesome that you put all your.
Oh, there's like a.
Are they testimonials? I don't know what they are. Yeah,
no, they're like
pictures of tattoos.
There's like, because that's a big part of it here. I'll show you in the video here. Yeah, in the very last couple of pages, there's like these,
sick.
Oh yeah, sick.
Oh, that's very cool. I like that.
Because it's like, I want people. Of course, I want to like share this with other people, because I mean that's a pretty cool honor that like someone. That you have created something that's relevant enough for other people to be like, hey, I identify with that. I want to put that on my body. Like that's a really cool feeling. It's a very weird feeling because it's something I drew that is now in somebody's body, but I'm completely honored. And and then, you know, I'll post one picture, then all of a sudden somebody else is like, oh, hey, by the way, I got this tattoo. I'm like, gosh, it's a really amazing feeling.
People won't see those too. They're on the, you got to highlight with the stories, right? Story highlight. And Instagram.
I mean, there's got to be hundreds by this point.
Yeah, there are. I would say there's probably, it probably is like over 100 by now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I see them. I mean, I obviously follow the page and I see them all the time. Yeah, I see them like in so it's like, that's crazy. Probably the most tattooed in our sport, probably the most tattooed brand. I would guarantee that. There's definitely like probably 30, no, maybe less than that, maybe 15, 20 CK tattoos out there. Not a ton.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Maybe less than that.
Really
I don't know. I've seen like, I think I've seen
20.
10. I think I've seen 10 or I don't know.
It's got to be a surreal feeling to have something you created tattooed on a bunch of people.
It's very surreal.
crazy.
Yeah. Especially, I'll tell you, the first time it ever happened, I was still working with my other job. And I knew, I mean, kind of before then, I knew that Whiteboard Daily was going to be something pretty cool. But then it was like a young lady in China. And of all things, she got the illustration of the Mike Bergner cue, when the arms bend, the power ends. And it's a drawing, but it was like my drawing, my lettering and everything. She got it tattooed on the back of her shoulder. I was like, I like dropped my phone. I was like,
that was the first time you saw a tattoo.
Yeah. Very first time. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was, I'll never forget it because it was like, wow, this is cool. Like people, because really same thing with you guys, Caffeine Kilos, you want to provide value for other people, right? Like because that's not just like, is it good business practice, but even more importantly, like that's just how humans should be. Yeah. It's like helping other people. And so like, Whiteboard Daily, it's like for me to provide something that's relevant and valuable. Like that's really all I want to do, and so that's the sign that like, yeah, it's working. So that's cool. It's
for sure, and yeah, no doubt. And you know, it's like when you see someone, you know, pass by you in a CK shirt, you know, you see them walk by, and like you automatically have that connection with that person. You guys kind of go through the same stuff, like on, you know, in the gym. You mentally, you know, you probably have similar interests, or someone doesn't have any idea what the hell it is. And it's a conversation starter, right? Like, oh, what is that? And then you start talking about health and fitness, and all of a sudden, like this person's now like inviting somebody into their world of like, you know, a positive lifestyle, positive outlook on life, and like how to treat yourself. And that's what's cool about having, like, that's the best kind of what I'm getting at here is like, that's the cool part about like being a part of a brand. And I know your brand has that same effect on people. And it's just, I think that's like the thing I'm most proud of personally from CK is like those little moments of like, things that I don't even see that or I know are happening, right? Obviously, the brand is growing, and new people are buying stuff, right? So it's like finding it somehow.
What kind of DMs do you get? You get people like asking you like, "Hey, dude, I just ripped off a bunch of your stuff," or you get people like giving suggestions, like, "Hey, do a motivational quote, do like with enough spider webs, you can hold down an elephant."
Well, he's definitely getting accosted by people like me, like, "Hey, could you draw me like this one thing that's like
in special requests?" What's going on in that DM folder? That's
man, I do get like some crazy DMs. I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of DMs, especially after I post pictures of like a gym mural.
Are people like, "This is wrong. You are harming people by giving this advice"?
No, I never get that. I never get that because
that makes me so happy. That makes me glad. Because like people are some people can be like such haters, you know, like I'm actually kind of surprised you don't. Like it's great that you don't.
Well, I really try hard. It's like the whole Spider-Man thing, like with great power comes great responsibility. Like I want to make sure that like anything that I post is going to be like legit. And because if I'm posting something, I'm telling somebody, "Hey, just pull and pray, like yank it like off the ground, like do whatever feels good." Then I'm like, it's stupid, right? I want to make sure I'm doing some good stuff out there. The DMs, I get a lot of people, especially like I said, after the gym murals, people will like be like, "Hey, can we do this without our gym? How do we do it?" And I'm like, listen, as long as you're not reselling my illustrations, you can do whatever you want to do. That's why I put it out there, is for people to share it.
And don't make merch with my, don't make merch.
I'm not trying to capitalize.
Yeah. Don't make merch and sell my logos on close to your members, and don't make a book of my drawings.
Yeah.
To try and sell it to people. But blast it all over the walls. Sick.
Yeah. I'm honored. Like, again, that's why I do it is to help other people out. And as Whiteboard Daily has gotten bigger, early on, like I remember I would talk with other kind of influencers, I guess. And they were like, they're like, hey, first off, you guys start watermarking all your stuff. Make sure you got that covered. The next step would be like, make sure you got your stuff trademarked. So I got WBD and I got whiteboard_daily trademarked, which wasn't cheap, but it's worth it because that means nobody else can rip off that stuff. And especially if I have my handle on my drawings. Yeah. So
watermarks are huge dude. in this new age of social media where anyone could just take any photo, just screen record anything and put it out as their own, right? So, but if as long as you have that watermark on the original thing, should be all right. Where do you envision? We talked about how you want to expand it and not just be an Instagram handle forever. You obviously started with the book. How do you how do you envision this thing ending, or what's your end goal with this thing, or do you not even know yet?
Or even next step, right?
Or next step, maybe. Yeah.
What's the next step?
What's on the horizon?
It's really something I think about all the time now, especially because this book is about to come out July 26th. It ships, and so like I think about like Kelly Starrett, right? When Supple Leopard came out, like that really kind of took him to the next level. Like people in our little CrossFit world, we knew about Kelly, but like now, like everybody knows about Kelly. And a lot of it is due to that book. And so I'm like, I really feel like it's not just the CrossFit book, but it's like something that anybody can use. And so I got a good
every high school strength coach
popular
in the nation should have a copy.
Yeah.
Well, and so I want to make sure that like I don't want it to fizzle out, right? I want to make sure that I'm ready for the next step. And so I'm already working on it on a volume 2 of the book. I know that. And because my publishers, they love working with me. I love working with them. Great relationship there. And I want to keep that going. So I'm already working on that book, but it's like, I don't know, like I would love to work with people and I don't know. I'm up for like discussions. I've got other people that I talk to this a lot about, and I want to make sure I'm ready to just expand it.
Well, I think you're doing great. I think you're on the right track. I think you just, I think it's just going to kind of fall into place as it goes. And, it's good that you're thinking about that and you're aware of those things, right? You know that you're like, you're not just like, oh, here's my book and I'm just going to sit back and like chill now. Like, no.
Well, it's cool because it's all kind of going full circle too. Like talking about, starting off and you're at the ranch for your, for your level 1 and with these different people you looked up to and whatever, different stuff like that. And, when you first, got to work half any kilos and experiences. But then the other day, and you had, again, I mentioned him earlier, but our friend Wes Pyatt, you sent me, I posted a picture with Wes and you're like, oh, I met Wes years ago. And so then I had Carl to this little group and first thing, Wes, the first of the hops on, he's like, dude, Carl, I am fangirling you so hard right now. I plagiarize your drawings on the whiteboard in my gym almost every day. Like when I put the workout up there, like I really look up the time and effort you put into like getting these cues and doing a good job and appreciate it. And it's just one of those things where it's, again, like it's kind of come full circle, right? It's kind of from consistency and doing this over and over again and refining it and getting better and the research you do and the practice and all that, it's at a point now where, it's kind of the other way a little bit, right? You get some people who kind of looking up to you and appreciating what you're doing. And that's, that's really a cool thing, right? To kind of see it kind of come to fruition that way.
Yeah, it's a big honor. I mean, like you talk about Wes, like when I met Wes, I was living out in New Zealand, lived out there for 2 years. And he was like, he and Lucas Parker were like these guest athletes at like this CrossFit competition where we were competing. And they're still big timers, but like back then there was like, they were training, they were like games athletes. And it was cool to just like, it's cool when you meet people and they're just as down to earth as you would hope that they would be. Right. And I'll never forget that. It's cool to finally, again, full circle to like now know him on a different level and in a different way. And to know him, to know that he kind of knows me more about me now too. And how I'm on the same page with the things that we're interested in. It's a cool feeling.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, we could talk to you all day, Carl, but we'll definitely have to come back and do another one soon. Down the line and get you on here again. But let everybody know where they can find you and let us know, like, talk about the book. When's the book going to come out again? Where can everybody find your stuff?
Actually, I have one. Oh yeah, do that first. I do have one more. Well, so one more thing real quick though is, I think would be cool. An idea I would like to do this is you could host it maybe even on your Instagram or whatever, but I would like you to do like a directed draw. right? Like,
Tell me.
Yeah, like you. Okay, it's like I'm a coach, and we're gonna do, we'll say, cleans today, and I want to draw those stick figures doing a clean, but like I can barely write my name, right? So just be like, all right, here we go. Today we're gonna draw the first step of a clean, like a clean pull, deadlift setup. That's it. We're doing the deadlift setup. All right. So first I start with this like vertical line right here. That's a shin. All right. From there, now we're going to go, back at this angle for the femur, and I'll make sure the femur is like, equal length to the shin, or however the fuck that works. Like, these things, right? And just like go through like how you draw one of the stick figures, like step by step, and be like, there you go. That's how you draw a deadlift setup.
Hey, I'm going to do you one better. Check this out. And when does this episode air?
Dude, you tell me.
No,
Here's the deal.
Yeah, probably
next week, maybe.
Yeah, Sunday.
Don't know.
Or next week. Yeah, I don't know how many we have banked up, but
I might put this one first, actually, because
this is
within the next few weeks.
This is technically an entire new book idea. It's
Sunday would be great.
Step by step book.
This is an entire book idea.
This is okay. So I just was on the phone with my publisher, and they were like, "Hey, how do you feel about doing a book giveaway?" I'm like, "That'd be." Or no, a different kind of giveaway. How do you feel about doing a giveaway? I was like, yes, I would love to do that. This was their idea. For people who purchase the book, have them email me a receipt, and then that gets them in a drawing for me to meet with them to do like what you just mentioned there, Danny, like a directed draw type of thing.
Cool.
And it'll be like a VIP. Take 5 people. And we'll do like a Zoom meeting, and I'll talk about drawing. I'll talk about cues. I'll talk about all that stuff. So let's do that right now. If you want to do that, we can like this, and then we'll have this be part of the announcement. We can also announce it like in a different way, whatever. But how about this? If people, the drawing is this: send me a screenshot of the purchase, which again, $30 on Amazon for this book that comes out July 26th. Send me a picture of that screenshot of the receipt of that. That's going to enter you into the drawing. And then I'm going to pick 5 people from that drawing. And then I'm going to meet with them via Zoom. And we'll talk about drawing, and we'll talk about coaching cues, and we'll talk about anything you guys want to talk about. So I'll select 5.
You heard it here first on GSC. That's going to be very special for those 5 people. That's going to be very, very cool.
Let's go ahead and have them email my email. So it would just be carl@wbd.tips.
I'll write it right here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And we want to see receipt. Carl wants to see receipts here. Not just a picture of the book that your friend bought. Okay. We got to see fresh receipts.
We need your credit card info on there.
Carl with the K.
No credit card info, please no.
At wbd.tips.
Social is not required.
I got to buy 10 copies.
They need to follow you on Whiteboard Daily.
They don't need to follow me. It's just
they need to follow you on Whiteboard Daily, Carl.
Okay, yeah.
And the odds of them owning the book and not following is pretty slim, I feel.
Pretty slim, yeah.
But unless they're just randomly searching, Q or weightlifting books or CrossFit books on Amazon,
catch the algorithm.
Awesome. Well, that's very exciting. That's very cool. And I know we'll probably obviously be speaking before the book release, but we hope nothing but the best on launch day, and we'll be definitely picking up our own copies too, and can't wait to get it.
Anything else, Carl? Any other announcements or anything you need to tell anyone? I do anything to run to wrap up.
I used to have a podcast with Jason Ackerman. We did a podcast. It was pretty fun. And then we just got tied up with other things. But I always ended the podcast by reminding people that a high tide lifts all boats. So together, let's keep on rising those tides. I want people to understand that. Like when you help other people out, you help yourself. So don't forget that. And along those same lines, I really hope you guys understand the honor that I have to sit down with you guys. Dylan, it's great to meet you too. And
you too, man.
Both of you, Dean and Danny, you guys are like, I really appreciate all of your trust and all of your shared vision. And it's just a cool thing to have that relationship. So thank you guys so much for all of your help along the way.
Yeah, man. Thank you as well, man. It's been a pleasure. Obviously it's been fun, getting to know you over these last, year or so, and I can't keep track of time on it, and so it's just like time flies, man. It's been really cool. And yeah, man, we'll talk to you soon. And thank you for, obviously we really appreciate you coming on. And we'll definitely have you back.
Yeah, sounds good.
Carl just gave me goosebumps with that sign off.
Dude, there it is.
Yeah, that was great.
The Desert Eagle. Thanks.
Desert
Thanks for
Eagle.
coming through.
Sign up.
All right,
Nice
see
to
you,
meet you, man.
All right. Bye, guys.
Take
See
care.
ya.
We got to do some.
There we go. Hey, last minute too. Old Carl on the spot.
Oh,
Carl on the spot.
I was gonna ask him for a free lesson right now, but I won't do that to him.
Dude, think about
We should have.
that's a whole new book.
Oh yeah,
Just the how to
draw.
the step by step,
100%.
like how to draw it books. Like those are already popular.
Does he do
Those-
stick
all this stuff.
videos yet? Like with the
Yes.
He does like
people-
videos.
He has some
yeah.
cool ones. He
Okay.
has like that glass that's like clear, and you can like see him drawing through it. It's really cool.
And also,
Okay.
he doesn't his Whiteboard Daily page doesn't like have a shop, so he can use like good audio and good songs for like his reels and shit for when he draws stuff.
No, interesting.
That's a great dude. Do you guys want to plug your collagen that just came in quick and where people can get it as one of the ad reads, and then I'll do the rest when you guys leave?
Yep.
SC, just want to give you guys a heads up that our collagen is finally back in stock. It's been out for a little while, and I'll tell you what, my hair and my skin is already feeling so much better that it's back. And yeah, so 1 tub, 3 tub subscription, whatever you need. Collagen is back, and enjoy.
There we go.
That good enough?
Caffeinekilos.com. Yep.
Oh,
Caffeinekilos.com.
now you got to cut that. I got to edit it.
Nah, dude, leave it just like that.
We'll leave it like that. I mean, it filled in your mustache again, so it must be doing something.
Dude, that's for
filling
sure.
in.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Danny looks like he sniffs bike seats in his off time with that one. Look at that stash.
Of course I do. Hell yeah, dude.
The
I make-
local high school.
I watch for dude. I make sure it's the guys getting off. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm not a pervert.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
Not a pervert.
I
so
prefer a
wanna
good
make sure.
police bike seat.
Oh, nice.
That smell of the bacon on the seat, bacon
sizzle.
sweat, bacon
Sizzle.
sweat.
Bacon lips.
It's time to get saucy with Rebecca condiments, jams, cooking sprays, whatever really you want. Guilt-free, no garbage, no trash, no horse shit ingredients. Now's the time. Some as low as 3 calories per serving, which is unheard of. The jam's delicious. The barbecue sauce is second to none. I've been looking for a barbecue sauce with no sugar for so long. And now that I finally have one, I can't put it down. Really great. Check it out. Rebecca, website right here. Delicious. NutriChamp supplements, nutrichamps.com. Use the code caffeine22 to receive 15% off the entire website. That's caffeine22 for 15% off everything. Maca root, sleep calm, super greens, horny goat weed, testosterone stuff, like everything you can think of, collagen, hair growing stuff, whatever you want, it's all there. 15% off. Get it while it's hot. NutriChamps.com. I use that stuff every day. Certain things, not everything on the whole thing, but what I can afford. Maybe cut that out because it is cheap. Maybe cut that out. It's not a cheap product, but like it's a good product. I actually love them. NutriChamps.com. I use it daily. It's the greatest thing. I feel so good, so energized. I got the performance package. So all things performance, and I mean all things performance, is there. Zero shoes. My back pain's gone. I don't sit as much, but my back pain's gone. My knee pain, getting better. I've only been wearing them a few months. Lunging daily, so that's helping as well. But zero shoes, man. I can't go back. You can't roll your ankle in these things because they're so low. They're beautiful. They're so comfy. Never worn a wide toe shoe box before, but I'll never go back. Feels like my feet are being strapped if I go back to my Nikes. Yeah, zero shoes, man. We had the CEO on last week. Great guy. Love him. Steven Sashin, very knowledgeable. The fastest growing shoe business in the world. Zero shoes. Check them out. No discount code because they're already $80. They should be $200. Zeroshoes.com right now. And that's the episode. That is the episode.